Hey, Don here. I got another answer to this question that we got. I just got a piece of music for my church group and it says KAY-poh 3 on the top of the music. What does that mean? We're going to talk about KAY-pohs today. KAY-pohs are these things. There's different kinds. Here, let me spin these around. I got a camera over here. Maybe you can see these a little closer. The name brand ones that we sell here are the Kysers. They're spring-loaded, clamp-on. We have a generic version. They make different ones. We have the one that's got the stronger spring for 12 strings. So you can get one of those too if you have a 12-string guitar. And then we also carry this Glider Capo. So that's really unique. I might even do a video specific on that one because that one really is pretty cool. You can actually change it on the fly. But KAY-poh 3, to answer the question, means you put one of these on the 3rd fret and then you go ahead and play your first position chords on the guitar just like you would normally in the open position. So it allows you to change the key that you're playing in without having to learn a bunch of different chord positions. You can play your standard first position chords at a different location on the neck. So it's a really cool thing. You see that a lot in church music and other kind of music too. Let's go into a little more detail on KAY-pohs, all right? I'm going to open up one of these Kyser Capo. This is the name brand one, and you can find all of these models that I've got here, and I'll put the links in the description too on our website. I'm going to actually grab a guitar too, so give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to try to get this position here where you can see it. All right, the Kyser Capo, you'll notice that it's got a long rubber contact point right here, and then this is the part that goes on the back. So KAY-poh 3, 1st fret, 2nd, 3rd fret. Okay, so in your case, you want to put it here. Now here's a quick tip. All right, if you're putting this on here, don't go back too far. Try to get it just behind the fret that you're supposed to put it on. Okay, that'll help hold it down tight to that fret. And this guitar is not in tune. That's a little bit out of tune. That's where you really want it. Spring-loaded Capo like this. Here's one a little stronger spring for 12 strings. And then here's the generic of the same thing. Let me open this Glider Capo because this is pretty cool, guys. So in this case, I'm going to tune this quick. All right, I'll lay this down so you can kind of see closely how this goes on here. This Capo has the long roller on the top here, and one of the sides just slips on. You can pull it off. You can see that right there. So how you put this on now is you put that underneath and you spring load, put that back on like that. So now there's your KAY-poh 3 position, but what happens if you want to go down? Okay, so you can move it on the fly, which is really cool. And here's the coolest part. If you don't want to use it, just slide it right there. You can store it right beyond the nut. And then if you need to bring it in play, so. So you can see what it's doing. All Capos do the same thing. It changes the actual chords up or down. So it allows you to play those first position chords all the way up and down the neck if you want. So this is a really cool one, and we have these back in stock. They were out of stock for a while. Any of these that you're interested in, you can find them on our website. The position, if you see it on the music, I already covered that. In this case, this question, it said KAY-poh 3, that just means the 3rd fret. If it said KAY-poh 2 or 4 or 1 or whatever, that's the fret that you would put the KAY-poh on. And the best thing is your chord shapes, all your first position chord shapes. You're not having to learn new chords. Before KAY-pohs, I guess bar chords are a big benefit for like a lot of rock players and stuff, where you're holding and playing all the way up and down the neck without that extra support. The main reason to use it is so you can do those first position chords and play in a different key. And why do you see this stuff? I'll tell you what, a lot of times in church, why do they play in other keys besides the original key? A lot has to do with the singers. Okay, let's say the singer, that key is not good for them and they have to change the key so it's easier for them to sing. Maybe they can't sing that lowest note or the highest note, and so they need to adjust. So that's a great way, just use the KAY-poh to do that. The only thing that you might see any kind of an issue when you're using a KAY-poh, there are some guitars that are putting big jumbo frets on their guitars now. So when you clamp the KAY-poh on there, if that fret is really high, guess what? You could actually be pulling it down and pulling it a little sharp. But throw a tuner on it, clip-on tuner, and just see if they're okay. The one thing I will say about the Glider Capo, since you have springs on both sides, you do get even pressure pulling down on the strings, whereas all these spring-loaded clamp style, a lot of the tension is coming from just one side. So you could be off tension-wise one side over the other. Shouldn't make a difference. If you get a good quality KAY-poh, it should work just fine. But some cheaper or maybe some worn-out KAY-pohs, maybe you won't get a good clamp all the way across. Maybe the spring's wearing out. That's a good indicator to go get another KAY-poh. And maybe try one of these Glider Capos. These are pretty awesome. This was invented, I believe, by Greg Bennett. Kudos on him for that. That's a pretty cool thing. That kind of covers all the details that I can talk about on KAY-pohs. They're used quite a bit, and it's definitely an accessory that you probably want to add to your arsenal, especially if you're doing church music and stuff like that. You'll see that happen a lot in church. That's all I got on this subject. We'll see you guys in the next video.